Hello everybody, in this video I'm going to show you how to build your own AI agent that runs fully locally in your machine and also has this beautiful user interface, and you can even ask for tools to do. For example, you can ask to check the internet, for example, what was the result of Real Madrid match yesterday. So it did the web search for me and is giving me all the information, right? Kylian Mbappé scored twice, then Jude Bellingham, and it was a 4-0 victory. And the best thing about this thing is that I comprise everything into a script that only has 80 lines of code. And everything is just made possible by using a couple tools or a couple different frameworks and tools that I'm going to show you in this video. And as you can see in this diagram, for everything to run in only 80 lines of code in just pure Python and from scratch, the only thing that you're going to need are these 4 different things. And let's start by the first one. Here on the right side, we have the agent and how can we use an agent, or what is an agent composed by? An agent is composed by an LLM and a set of tools that the LLM is going to use. And for the LLM, or not actually the LLM itself, but the engine that is going to run the LLM is Ollama. If you don't know what Ollama is just an application that runs in any machine. So it can be a Mac, Windows, and Linux. So you can just download it in every platform. And once you download it, you can just open your terminal. For me, it's Ghostly. And here you can just say Ollama list. Here you see all the Ollama models that you could have in your machine. So in my case, I have used many that can run in my local machine. And what you do is you do Ollama pool, and then you pull a model from the cloud. You can see the list of all the models here in Ollama.com. You click on models, and then you're even able to just set up or just look for the ones that, for example, have tool enabled, so that have thinking. And here, for example, we can see that GPT open source, the model that OpenAI released just a couple of weeks, I think months ago, is available here. And you can see the versions, the 20 billion version, the 120 billion version. And of course, in your local machine, if you only have a small GPU or a Mac OS, like is my case, you're probably not going to be able to run as bigger models. In my case, I think the cap is around 7 billion parameter models if it's quantized to integers. So once you pull the model that you want to run, then you use Ollama run and you select the model. My favorite right now to run is Qwen 3, the 4 billion model, and also a fine-tuned version that doesn't reason. So that's why I have like these super fast responses. We can see how fast it is, right? Just look at this, just how many tokens was that? Like just super quickly, we can just continue talking about it. What's your name? So this is Ollama, right? Running, so this is the Qwen 3 model running through Ollama in my local laptop, which is amazing. And I think you can exit like this, and that's it, right? So this is Ollama. The next thing that I want to show you is how you can now use Ollama, but through Python. So for that, we can just go for this. So let me just show you here. So Ollama has a library in Python, and the only thing that you need to do is just import that library, and then just use chat. You select the model, and then as always, as with the OpenAI format, you give the role and you give the message or the user message in this case. So in this case, I'm asking, so what is the capital of France? Let's see if this model knows the answer. We can just say Python tutorial 1 Ollama. The capital of France is Paris. So what it did is through the Python library is using Ollama in my local machine to give me the answer, or to invoke the model and give me the answer, which is super cool. And now the next tool that I want to show you, right? Now you have this, or now you know how to run an LLM in your local machine, which is super cool, right? With Ollama. And now you want to give this model tools so that it becomes an agent, right? So when a model is using tools in a kind of like in the React framework, right, it's able to reason about what to do. It's going to be acting using the tools and then observing the answer and then just giving you the answer. That more or less is an agent. Here we have LangChain for this, and LangChain just released the version 1.0, which is the stable version of LangChain. I've been using LangChain for a very long time. I really, really like the framework. And now that is on this stable version, I'm really, really happy. And I even trust LangChain and LangGraph to be just the go-to framework for building agents. And here, a distinction about it is that LangChain and LangGraph are two different frameworks. With LangChain, you want to use for LLM workflows and use for simple AI agents. And once you want to kind of like have a more detailed or a more comprehensive agent with many more things, then you want to go and use LangGraph. And actually, through LangChain, once you build an agent with the pre-built functions, in the backend is actually using LangGraph. But if you're building a simple AI agent, as the one that we are building in this demo, you are not going to need to use LangGraph. So with just LangChain is going to be enough. And another thing about why I really like using LangChain is just mainly this thing, right? The model interoperability, or the model agnostic nature of it. So that means that with the same code, just changing one small class, for example, Chat Ollama to Chat OpenAI, now you, instead of running your model through Ollama, you can run the model through OpenAI, or the agent through OpenAI, which is super, super cool. So it doesn't change your code, and they make it really easy to integrate just all these LLM providers and LLM tools. So it's really cool. And let me just show you a tutorial in action. So if we open here to LangChain LLM, we can see how super simply, right, in like 9 lines of code, we can use a wrapper class for the same Ollama library, right? But this is wrapped through LangChain. So that really means that it inherits from a base class, right? A base chat LLM class. And in this case, this is the Ollama integration. So here, in the same way, you just set up which model you want to use. You can also just give more parameters, like, for example, the temperature. But in this case, let's just run it like this. And I'm going to ask the same question. Probably we are going to get the same answer. So if we do Python tutorials to LangChain LLM, the capital of France is Paris. We even get that token by token, which is probably the same thing because we are running with the same temperature. Yeah, that would make sense. Again, and here another tutorial, another thing that I want to show you is that through LangChain you can integrate tools very easily, right? So as I said before, an LLM with tools will become an agent. So now let me just demo how you can build tools and how can you use tools with LangChain. So the way that you build tools in LangChain is you define a Python function, for example, multiply numbers. You give just the parameters and you use what you want to make sure to do is you want to have the docstring readable so that the LLM can understand it, because this with this decorator tool, the tool is going to be using this docstring as the information for the model on how to use the tool. But also LangChain makes it really easy to use or to have like pre-built tools. One of them, which I think is super cool, is Tabili Search, which allows you to do internet searches. And yeah, so here the only thing that you want to do is just use the method invoke, and this is going to invoke the function or the tool. And same thing here. So I have the multiply result. So I want to see how is what is 2 multiplied by 3. Let's see if it does it well. And here I want to see if we ask a question like, what was the result of Real Madrid's match this weekend? I want to see what are the results so that the model then is going to use it. So same thing, Python tutorials to LangChain tools. if we run this thing, it just runs super, super quickly. So of course, 2 times 3 is 6. We get that. And now what was the result of Real Madrid match this weekend? We can see that Real Madrid extend La Liga lead in Valencia route. And we can see the content of the article is saying that Real Madrid cruised to a 4-0 win. So we have the answer here. And we have given as a parameter how many results or how many searches or how many articles we wanna get from this search, and we can just see there are different results. So here we get another one against Valencia, but here, for example, it's not recent because we probably didn't give enough context in the queries. So yeah, this tool I think is super, super interesting, and I think really cool, like to build agents that have web capabilities. As probably all the agents that you use right now, like ChatGPT and Anthropic, they all have these search capabilities, maybe through Tabily, maybe through Google Search, maybe through DuckDuckGo. So there are different providers for search, and Tabily is one that also has a free tier. And I can show you right now even how you can use it. So you just need to go to Tabily search. Here, you just want to log in or sign up. Once you sign up, so in my case, I've already signed up, and then you have 1,000 credits for free per month. I've already used 9, so yeah, it's very generous. And what you have is you can create an API key, and once you have this API key, you can just copy the API key, then go to your IDE, and then in your .env variable, so .env file that you can create, you can just say Tabily API key, give the API key, and then once you're running your scripts through .env, through this library, is going to be, so the value is going to be loaded and it's going to be used by the tool. And now the third tool that I want to show you is, okay, now we have the agent, but how can I use the agent in a cool way? So how can I use this agent in a fancy UI? So here you have Chainlit. I've been using Chainlit for such a long time. I think it makes it super easy just to have that feedback and just to have a UI to run your agent. Chainlit is again another open source library. I think I have it here. Yeah, you can just Google it quickly, but I'm also gonna leave links to everything down below in the description. And here you have a tutorial on how to use it. I just copy pasted this demo file. So let me just show you what it's doing. So this is just, again, a demo, right? So this is how would it work when you have a tool, and this is more or less how would it work once you have a tool, and then a model could just give you the message back. But this is just for the sake of testing or for seeing the Chainlit UI. If we can just do, actually not Python, in this case you want to do Chainlit run tutorials, or you just point at the script, and once you do that, it's going to open automatically this page in the browser for you. And now you can just say, hey, we're always going to get the same answer, right? Because it's always doing the same thing, sleep for 2 seconds, and then just answering a response from the tool. So we say again, hi, we are not going to get an answer from the model. That's something that I'm going to teach you in a second. Okay, and now the fourth and final tool that is going to allow us to just run and have everything running in only 80 lines of code and nicely and very, very quickly. What I'm talking about is just UV, which is the package manager, and it's just the fastest, like by far the fastest package manager that you can see. I think here in the introduction they just tell you how fast it is, right? UV compared to Poetry or Pip, it's just like much faster. So 10 to 100 times faster than Pip. And it's just really, really cool. I think it's written in Rust, I believe. Yes, I believe so. And yeah, it's amazing. It's fantastic. And also it allows us to do really cool things like having a single file script. So that means that you can explicitly mention all the dependencies in the same script. And this way you don't even need to create a PyProject.tom with all the specifications. So of course, this is just for demo purposes. You just if you want to get just going really, really quickly, you can do it like this. Of course, in bigger projects, you want to have your all the files and everything nicely structured. But here, for the sake of this demo, we can just see that, yeah, we can put every piece of that I've shown you together in this small file in only 80 lines. We are able to run this whole application, which is crazy. So if we go again, and I think I have it with UV run Python main, right? Because this way I'm telling to run through UV instead of like the Python virtual environment. But in the background, actually UV is creating a virtual environment here in the machine, and is so in this local folder, and is gonna use it. So if we do UV run Python main, what we get is this, right? The same screen as before, because this is a default screen that you have in Chainlit. You can change it, and you can just see the documentation that I'm going to put again in the description below to see how you can just change all this UI. And here you have, now the interface to chat with our model. So I think that took a while, so it took a little because it had to load. But now again, if I'm asking, so what's your name? We should get a very quick answer. Yeah, amazing. So this model is just running super quickly in my machine. And we can just say something about, hey, what's 5 times 3? And it's going to use the model. So it's going to use the tool, and it's going to tell us, hey, 5 times 3 is 15. And we can also just, again, test the tably search. We can say something about search online. What was the result of Sinner match this weekend? Well, and he's going to use the tool. He's going to do the search. Takes a couple of seconds. Exactly. So this is a game that I think finished a couple of hours ago only, or even just an hour ago. So Yannick Sinner won against Felix Oyer Alice. Alisam, no, I don't know even how to pronounce it. It was a tight match, 6-4, 7-6, and it gives me all this information, right? So Sinner reclaimed the #1 ranking, which is, well, for me, sad to know because I'm an Alcaraz fan, but I also love Sinner, so yeah, good for him. 5th title of the year, so he's giving me all this information, right? And I don't even need to go to the internet, right? So I can ask my model locally for free, and I get the answers, and it's given even me the sources. And probably if we just click on them, yes, we have that. We have this other one. So it's telling me which sources it used. So this is so cool. I love it. And let me give you a quick overview of this file, but we have seen most of it already in the other tutorial .py files. What we have here is just the import of all the libraries, right? So we need Chainlit, we need all these different tools. And I think the one that we're going to pay attention now is going to be create agent. But yeah, we have tool, we saw that before, human message, we need that, chat Ollama, we saw that before, tably search, and in memory saver, which is also part of another kind of like part of building the agent that I'm going to explain you now. And also for the login, I'm using Loguru, which makes it even nicer to print logs. So here, what we have is what we had before. So we initialize the model with chat Ollama. We mention which specific model. Then we define some tools. So as I said, we can just define custom tools by using the tool decorator, but also we can use import tools that are already pre-made or pre-built by LangChain, and you can use it directly. So you can just set the parameter. In this case, I want the search to give us 5 results, so to give the agent 5 results. And now what we do is just, okay, we list all the tools that we want to give the agent. We also need to set a system prompt. Or I think, well, if you don't set it, it's going to use just the typical AI assistant one. But here, as always, as in all my videos, I like to give the Samantha personality from the movie Her. And in this case, I just say just a couple of things, right? You have a warm personality. Just do know that you have some basic math operation tools and web searches. So yeah, make sure that you use the tools. Exactly, and keep your responses friendly and conversational, right? I want the messages to be kind of short as well, right? And The thing that I want to add now is the in-memory saver. Again, this is for demo purposes. This is the memory or the short-term memory that you're going to use for the conversation, for all the messages. So this way you don't need to track that this is a human message, then this is the AI message, and you don't have to keep track of the list of messages. So by just having this checkpointer, everything is done in the background for you, which is really cool. But in production, you want to use an in-memory saver that, for example, uses SQLite or Postgres, or use a proper database, because this is not persistent. And you want to use this create agent function that came out with the release of LangGraph and LangChain 1.0. And what it does, it actually says it here. So it creates an agent graph. So in the background is using the LangGraph library. So the actual class that is giving you back is the agent. Actually, let me just rename this because it's not a math agent anymore. Let's just call it agent. And now we have the agent here. Okay, so we have the agent, create the stream. And finally, in this last part, what we have is just the piece of code that you need to wrap the answer in Chainlit. Super, super simple. So you just want to use this decorator Chainlit on message, which is going to tell Chainlit, okay, every time that you get a message, this is going to happen, right? So every time that in the box of the message, the user is writing a message, you want to get that, right? So you want to get the message from the user. And then what I'm saying is just, okay, let's use the stream method instead of the invoke, because I want to stream the tokens. I want to see I don't want to wait until the model gives the full answer. I want to see already the tokens. So that's what I'm using stream. And what I'm saying just simply is, okay, so the messages are these ones, right? So I'm adding this new message. As I said, since we are using checkpointer, so the agent is keeping track of all the list of messages. So it's going to have that control over all the messages. And then you say, well, thread number 1, because you need this to pinpoint which thread is going to use for the chain pointer. So this is kind of like the ID for the memory. So in this case, we have just a simple thread because this is going to be only for one user. This is just running locally. And now you just want to stream the messages. And then what you want to have is a method to stream tokens in Chainlit. So you use this thing, a stream token, and then you say, hey, stream the actual token. And once it's finished, you just want to use the send method from Chainlit, and that's it. That's really all. Then with this piece of code, you can avoid using the Chainlit run. You can also do Python and then the script, and that's how we are able to run it with UV run Python main, as we saw before. And if you already have some experience building AI agents in Python, but you don't really know how to build proper, robust AI systems or applications around them, you want to have a look at this really cool article from a friend, Miguel Otero, who really creates incredible blog posts about building, about AI engineering, about building agents and RAG applications and everything. And this article in particular, I found it super, super useful. Even for me, I'm using this, his template that separates the projects into, the clean architecture. So super, so really, really cool recommendation. I'm going to leave the link to this blog post also down below in the description. And that was everything that I wanted to show you in this video. And I hope you liked the video. I hope you learned something from this video. And let me tell you, this is really the stack that I use to, not only this stack, but all these tools, I use it daily. Of course, UV for sure, Ollama when I build local applications or applications that run in GPU, LangChain almost in every project, and Chainlit every time that I need a UI, I use Chainlit. So this is what AI engineers use. So really use it, give it a try, learn. And if you have any questions, just let me know in the comments below. I try to answer all the comments. And if you did like this video, I would appreciate it a lot if you can give it a like and also subscribe to my channel if you're new here. And I think I'm going to leave a video over here in which I'm going to teach you how to build a proper, more serious AI agent using LangGraph, which is, as I said before, the tool for building serious AI agents. I hope to see you soon. Bye-bye.